All right, we live.
Doesn't look like it.
Says on
You,
my screen we're 20 seconds in.
yeah, I see that, but it ain't showing up on. Oh, there we are.
There we
All
are. All
right.
right, so welcome into show number 1 of Royal Bettors. This is going to be an NHL-based sports gambling show. I mean, the first 4 episodes are going to be more division preview based. Like today, we're going to be focusing on the Metro Division and given where we think each team is going to finish in the standings. And we'll give out futures bets at the end. So stick around for those because we're going to hopefully hand out some winners. We got some pretty high-priced underdogs and, some not so surprising picks to go in the Metro Division. So I am Jaric Rubel. I am a big hockey fan myself. I have been watching the sport for pretty much 7, 8 years now on a daily basis. Through high school, I would watch the Blackhawks. They had their heyday, and I just kind of stuck with it ever since. People thought I was a bandwagon, but I really enjoy the sport, and I watch every team when they're on. And I'm sure Jake could probably speak for himself too with that.
Yeah, my name is Jake, and we decided to do this betting show, and I can agree, hockey is everything. So we decided to do hockey as our, show.
But yeah, so last year,
Um,
like we kind of gave gambling a go, and we thought it went pretty well for us. Playoffs, I took a little bit of a hit. My record was well under 500, but I was up 34 units myself in the regular season last year, and I think that's pretty good for my first go around at a sports book. So we're gonna take our talents over to YouTube this time, and we're gonna try and stream on a day-to-day basis. And so it's gonna be 7 days a week, 9 a.m. every day, except Tuesday and Thursday. We are going to be on at 3 p.m. because that's normally like a heavier schedule in the NHL without any day games. So we figured we'll go on a little later in the day and just kind of discuss with, maybe we'll get a different bunch of viewership if we get viewers as well.
oh, you weren't supposed to see that yet.
So, whoa.
I
All
made
right.
something,
So
as you can see. I
that's a
tried
little
to
bit
make
about what the
something.
show is going to be. Jake's over here playing around with his, Prezi that he made. But I want to get into the division breakdowns because that's what you're all here for. And so I'm just going to go ahead and kind of start things off. We're going to go from the 8th spot all the way through number 1 to who we think is going to win the division. So I'm going to kick things right off and just say the Columbus Blue Jackets are sadly going to finish last place in the Metropolitan Division. And I don't think that's anything against what the Columbus Blue Jackets are. I think they had a good offseason. I just don't think they have enough goal scoring. They traded off Cam Atkinson. They're going to have to be carried pretty good by Elvis Merzlikins. And, it's just going to be a down year for them. I mean, I think there's just a lot more talent overall in the Metropolitan Division. I mean, Line, maybe he'll say F you to my goal scoring theory and score 40 and get back to his ways. But I just don't really see it happening for Columbus this year. I
I
mean,
will
you acquired
also
Jake
agree.
Bean and Adam Boquist. Sorry to on defense, but I mean, it's just not really enough right now for win. Now you gave Verinsky the extension, but you got to get more up front before they're going to get back in the playoffs.
I also will be having Columbus in the eighth spot, and mainly because I think the other 7 teams in the division are just a step ahead, all around a better team than the Blue Jackets are, because they don't have what it takes. I don't think anymore. So
Yeah,
I
no, it's.
agree
I
with
mean, it's
him. Not
they
much to
sold
say
off.
about them.
They didn't. I mean, I remember when they went all in with the Matthew Shane acquisition and stuff at that deadline. Yarmo sold all those picks, so they're just now finally getting the prospect pool back. I mean, they had I think 3 picks in the 2019 draft. Like they didn't have many whatsoever. But so both of us agree on Columbus at 8. Jake's got dogs barking in his background. We love that.
You can hear them.
I just a little bit. But we'll move on over to number 7 now. And I kind of hate that I have this team here because they could definitely be better. But I got the New Jersey Devils at number 7. And it's just, for me, not enough size down the middle. I mean, you got Nico Hischier and Jack Hughes, and they're both good players, right? But I almost think that it's like when Montreal went with Domi and Duran down the middle. Like it's just not going to work. They're not size guys. There's a lot of other teams in the division that have, bona fide centermen. And then, maybe they could go after a center Jack Eichel mix. I mean, Thomas Hurdle could be there. I mean, I like the fact they acquired Graves and Hamilton on defense. I think that that's going to do them wonders for the now, as in like this year or next. But I don't know how that Hamilton deal is going to work out, say, 4, 5, 6 years down the road. So, I mean, New Jersey, I wouldn't be surprised if they finish fifth and maybe like contended for a wild card. But as of right now, I got them in that 7th spot. 'Cause I just don't think they have enough size down the middle to compete with a lot of the better teams in the NHL.
I also have the Devils in the 7th spot, and I mean he covers a lot when he talks, but we have similar
Sorry.
views when it comes to this stuff. No, it's all good. You say it better than I would, but I actually like the Devils a lot. Like something special can happen.
You're kind of
Mackenzie
more you're
Blackwood.
you're more of the reason like I always started to believe in the hype of the Devils. And I told you last year, like I think Mackenzie Blackwood could be a Vezina winner one day.
Yeah, and I liked watching him last year. I mean, didn't have really any team around him, but they were what they
Exactly.
were. But I actually really like them and wish they could be better, but not in this division. And can't really count out guys like Crosby and Ovechkin to actually fall below a team like the Devils. So fortunately, they got to be right here.
Exactly. Yeah, unfortunately. But again, if you like the Devils watching this video, you could go ahead and leave a comment. We want to hear interaction from you guys, obviously. And like if you feel like feel the need to bet the Devils to get in the playoffs, like I'm not gonna say no to that because I still teeter totter, but I mean, like Jake said, Crosby, Ovechkin, Malkin, like those guys are still gonna be around playing. Backstrom, Kuznetsov's looking good in camp right now. I mean, it's gonna be hard to bet Pittsburgh or Washington below New Jersey. So transitioning over now to number 6. I mean, we'll see how people feel about this one. I think you have them in the same spot as me. The
We
Pittsburgh
we
Penguins.
do.
All right. So this is year 3 for me about them having a free fall. I don't know about you. Is this your first year? Or do you
Yeah,
think? Because
I
I had
was
them missing the
not.
playoffs the last 2 years.
Yeah, I was not with you. I was totally against you with that in the past few years. I was like, I just don't see Crosby letting that ever happen, and I mean that was true. So
Yeah.
why do you
So
think they're going to be down here though?
I mean, they're without Sid and Malkin to start the year. I know Malkin will be back sooner than Sid will, but it's like they don't have Marc-Andre Fleury behind them anymore. I mean, normally they relied on the goaltending and defense to get them through, those hard times, and they don't have any of that right now. I don't really believe in Tristan Jarry. This defense is subpar. Chris Letang, I don't think is going to have the season he had last year. He was really good last year. And I just think it's going to be the year where the Pittsburgh Penguins finally take that downfall. I think there's a lot more youth on the come up in that division. I think there's a lot more teams with better, defensive systems and better netminders than them. I just think that Pittsburgh's in a tough situation. We're without Sid and Gino to start the year for, a month or two. They're going to fall behind by that Thanksgiving mark where everybody, tries to get in. And I think it's going to be a battle for Pittsburgh this year.
Agreed. Sorry, I'm like playing. I'm trying to figure out. Apparently, you can't comment on this because it's made for kids. Don't know what that means, but it doesn't let you open a live chat. So I'm trying to fix that.
Interesting. We're still learning how this all works. It's only show number 1, but we're getting the gist of why we're here out to you guys.
Exactly. But yeah, like we were talking, he's been on the downfall of the Penguins for a while, and it's been there. It's just you had Crosby and carrying that team. But this year, I think it's different, and I'm very big on it. Like that's one
Really
of my
big.
actually like if I had to pick, I don't know. I think it's my highest bet is for them to miss the playoffs at a high price of 160 plus 170, and I just don't see like there's 4 main teams, and then the Capitals are pretty similar to the Penguins, and I think they'll be in a battle for that 5th spot, but I don't see much coming out of it. Those 4 teams above them are a tier ahead outside of the Capitals and the Penguins. But I'll put them down here because I do think they're going to miss for sure.
All right, so Penguins missing the playoffs. It's a consensus. I think that's going to be our little early preview for what our some of our future best bets are going to be at the end of the show here. So moving along here, here's the fifth spot, and the fifth spot in the division could make the playoffs. It's always likely, not likely, but they could get that second wild card spot. It's the Washington Capitals, and for me, the way I have this all shaping out, I think they're gonna miss the playoffs, and I still think they're a good group, right? Like their defense isn't great. Samsonov, Vanacek, or whatever as a defensive combination, but like they have a strong forward group. I mean, they're the oldest in the NHL. They just brought in Mantha at the end of last year. Like I don't think they're a bad team. I just don't think they're gonna have enough compared to what some of these other teams that we're going to talk about in this division have, and then when we'll get to the Atlantic here in a future video. I just think it's going to be, the Caps are going to be right there. They're a fringe team, but I just think that the other teams have more firepower and that it factor than they do anymore. And the injury bug could play a role. They've played a lot of meaningful hockey over these last 5 years.
Okay, real quick, I got the live chat to work. So
awesome.
It should be, I think it is working. That's first thing. Second, yeah, once again, you covered it well. But I do think that, like you said, the
sirens now.
You just might have to move into the basement, huh?
But you're good.
Got Stanley here.
Yeah.
So the Capitals, I think they'll be like a streaky team to where when they're all feeling it and whatever, they'll go on and win a few games. But one goes down, they'll start. I mean, I feel like they need the whole team there to win games. They won't be able to like come away with a few wins at random times just because I think they're going to have to all be there. Ovi's going to have to be on the power play like every game.
Well, he'll be there.
Yeah.
All right, so Washington, we both got it 5. So I know they're having the time of their life, but now it's gonna get interesting. Man, they're barking. Do you want to take care of that real quick? All right, but here, while he's taking care of that, I know it's gonna get interesting here 4 through 1. It's not gonna be a consensus anymore because we've talked about this a lot. Like the way we think this show is gonna be a good idea because you look through our texts, we just talk sports all the time. Hockey, football, he gets into baseball. So this is why we feel the show makes sense. And we're going through these division preview shows just to kind of give this a test run.
I think this is totally like just going to be our text, but in a video form for other people to see and hopefully impact your betting and make you some money or something. And just enjoy being with us because we'll get talk for days.
Literally, we will talk for days, and we'll get into like the nitty gritty of the betting starting on October 12th when the season really kicks off. But for now, we're still just going through the divisions. We'll give you a couple futures, and like I said, now it's going to get interesting 4 through 1. So we're not going to agree anymore. I don't know if we might agree on one of these, and it might be we're not going to agree on any of these. It's going to be different from here on out. So here you go. For me at the number 4 spot, I got the Carolina Hurricanes. Now, I think the Canes are still a good hockey team, right? But I don't think they're a great team like last year. Like they were Stanley Cup contender last year. And I don't trust Freddie Anderson and Antti Raanta in that. Just plain and simple. Like Anderson, good goalie, not somebody I would want on my team, And both goalies are injury prone. They don't have anybody in the pipeline behind them. And they're still scoring there with Aho, Teravainen, Svechnikov. They got a ton of talent there on the forward core. But, I mean, the goaltending, man. The defense is going to have to block a lot of shots. They lost Dougie Hamilton. That's a big hit. I mean, I think they're probably a wild card team in the East, but I just don't think they're as good as they once were.
So he has the Hurricanes there, and he's on the big hype of the team that I have in 4th, which is actually going to be the New York Rangers. And Panarin is my probably favorite hockey player. I don't want to say in the league because I'm a Hawks fan, so I'm going to have to go with Hawks players. But, like, Panarin was a Hawks player, so favorite, love the guy.
Damn
Just
good one.
I just can't see them getting around these other teams that are all around built. Like like the Rangers got Adam Fox and Truba, and like their defense is there. Everything's there for them. I just think they're one more year of building around together, and they lost a few bottom six guys that I feel like watching last year would get a goal like every game. That one random bottom six guy would like
They
Phil
got Barclay
Giuseppe.
Goodrow though. Yeah,
They
Di
did.
Giuseppe. They lost Colin Blackwell, and that's a guy as a Blackhawks
Blackwell was
fan.
a good.
I really wish like Stan Bowman would have tried to get him because he reminds me so much of Andrew Shaw, just not so much with the vocal game. He doesn't really chirp as much, from my knowledge.
Yeah, it's just the other three teams we got above. I think just have a better like defensive core, like lockdown games and win low scoring games. I see the Rangers having to score a few goals to win every game, but they are definitely young enough to do that and keep up the pace. But I'll have them at 4.
All right, so I got the Hurricanes at 4. Jake's got the Rangers at 4. So now the top three. This is who we think are pretty much your locks for the playoffs because top three in each division gets in. So my number 3 pick, this might actually surprise some people to an extent, and it's the New York Islanders. Now I know a lot of people probably really like them to win the division, especially because they've been to back-to-back Eastern Conference Finals, and I mean they're a great defensive team, and they're going to be there till the end. They could probably get back there in the playoffs if they wanted to. They're going to want to, but they start the season playing 15 games on the road because that stadium's not quite ready, and man, that's a long trip. The Sharks did that last year. They finished last in the West. Now, granted, they're not a good team, but like 15 straight road games to start the year. Only 4 against teams that did not make the playoffs last year, and one of those teams is Chicago, who we both think are going to be really good this year. So I think it's going to be an uphill battle from the Islanders to the start. Like they might not be in that spot by American Thanksgiving, like I was talking about, and I think it'll help them. They'll be at home a lot in the second half. I'm, kind of rambling here, but Sorokin and Varlamov are dynamite at home. And I think being, majority of the games at the new stadium up in Belmont Park is going to help them in the second half of the year. And I know you have an interesting take of how you kind of want to go about them in the season. Might be an interesting mid-season take.
Do I not remember it?
Do you not? I remember we were hanging out last weekend, and you said it might be smart to bet the Islanders to win the division mid-season when the price is
Oh
better.
yes. Okay, you're right. Totally right. Because I mean that betting for that right now, it's Islanders are favored, but it's not like a huge
Yeah.
favor like at all. So, but my other thing is you do overthink a lot, and you on Twitter you said like, oh, I overthink a lot. Said something about football, but I feel like
Yeah.
you could be overthinking these away games, and it could just be since it is the beginning of the season, maybe they won't even be in like a home away rotation, and they're just like, all right, I'm ready to play type thing, and they'll.
Yeah, no, you're
I
right.
mean, away always affects you, but like the Islanders are still going to be that team that wins
Like
2-1 games
home
all the
ice
time.
isn't as much as what it used to be, but once you hit like game 8 and 9 of that road trip, you're really gonna start like feeling it.
So wait, can you see the
I
chat
think.
on the side? Can you see
I
the chat on
can't
the side?
because I'm dealing with some technical issues. No, I don't see it on here, sadly.
Dang. Well,
So
Brian
if
Kane
you want
comes
to
in with
read
the
off,
Anders. Brian Kane comes in with the Anders Lee with the exclamation points.
Anders Lee, that's
Yes.
your guy.
Yeah, he's gonna be back and he's gonna be hungry to play after
That's
missing
huge.
last
Yeah,
year,
that
end
is
of last
huge.
year.
The road games, man.
So
I'm sold on them. I'm sold on a slow start.
I will not say where I have the Islanders right now because I will say who I have at number 3, and I now have the Hurricanes above the Rangers with I mean, I already kind of covered what I thought about the Canes, but they did lose some pieces. And I mean, I don't know what they were thinking with their goalie situation. I thought Nedeljkovic was going to be their future, especially having Pete Mrazek and James Reimer, who,
Steve
I mean,
Yzerman, the Detroit GM, he's like, you'd have to ask him what they make that trade. Like,
yeah,
he knew it. It's like,
I
please,
was baffled. I was like, are the Canes trying to sell when you just became a Stanley Cup
right?
contender and you're young?
Like,
Like
that
they
was
don't
the
have any
one
old.
piece that I really thought that they would not sell off. Like, I thought he
I
was
thought
going
they
to
got
be there for
lucky.
the long ride.
Yeah, I thought they got lucky, and they're like they have a team built, and then this goalie walks in, and now you don't need to pay Reimer or
Mrazek.
Mrazek, and you can let them walk and keep Nedeljkovic. But I don't know, helps out Detroit, I guess, a lot now. I think because Detroit's all young, and he's gonna help them out. But Canes still have that forward depth, and they're gonna have fast-paced games, and they still have enough defense to hold down a game, and they're gonna steal away some. So I have them at third.
Yeah, if I wasn't on the
What do
Rangers
you?
hype, I mean, I'd probably have him at third too. So, I mean, Hurricanes in the playoffs for Mr. Alder here. Now our top two. Here's where I get to the Mr. Hype Up. The New York Rangers at number two. I think they're ready for the next step. Gallant's now their head coach. They brought in some pieces on the bottom six that I feel they needed to solidify. They brought in Barclay Goodrow, brought in Ryan Reeves, and I think those are two good pieces in that division that are going to help them when they get into those big, meaningful games. I mean, they're going to be a heavier team than they were last year, and we saw how they like to throw the knuckles against Washington when that whole Tom Wilson incident happened. Like they had guys who would step up. So I think New York's going to be a well-built team in that regard because Panarin and Zibanejad are going to put up 100. Well, Panarin's probably going to put up 100 points. I don't know about Zibanejad. He'll probably get 25, 30 goals. And then, like I was saying, Gerard Gallant's now their head coach, and everywhere he's gone in his first division, or first season, he won the division. He won it with Florida and he won it with Vegas. Now, I don't have them winning it here, but I have them getting home ice in the first round, and I think they're going to be a really good hockey team. Oh, and they're still in the mix for Jack Eichel, so look out for that. And I think they might go after Riley Smith in Vegas because that's Gerard Gallant's boy. So I think the New York Rangers are going to, and the books are respecting them too. Like they're what minus 150 or something ridiculous to make the playoffs. Like
Yeah,
I think the books are on par with the Rangers too. Like I think that this is the year they're finally going to take that next step.
yeah, understood. Like I said, I just feel like watching their games last year, they'd lose a few games and they'll win the next game, put up 6, 7 goals, and you're just like, where does this come from? And they just didn't seem too consistent with it. But like you said, if they make some trade for another player, I mean, Eichel obviously a major impact, but I mean, he has that surgery, so I don't know how that would work
Yeah.
out. But yeah, you got the Rangers at number 2. I have, which I went through a lot of switching up my rankings for this one. I think we started with the Metro because of how much that debate is there. But I had them in first at one point, and then I switched them out because I was talking about that overthinking of the first home or first 15 away games for the Islanders. So I have the Flyers at number 2. And I really wanted to put them at number 1, and I actually have some money out there for them to win the division because I do think it is very much possible. I know I don't have them
And
here in
the
the end, but
value, man. The
yeah,
value is there.
the value on them to
And
make the playoffs. They are positive money to make the playoffs. That is
I don't think
insane to
either
me.
of us are being ridiculous when we think like we're not just like betting them because they're a heavy underdog to an extent. Like I got them at plus 1,000 for what I'm about to mention next, and because people could figure that out by the team I've talked about. Like it just doesn't make sense to me with the team they have, even with Kevin Hayes out. And when Kevin Hayes went out, it went from 1,000 to plus 900.
Yeah, that
Like
forward group is there, and they went out and they filled that void of defensemen. And I mean, Carter Hart was supposed to be great last year, and I mean, sophomore slump, I guess. I don't really know what happened there, but he's still Carter Hart. It doesn't just go away. And I mean, their backup, Martin Jones. I mean, it doesn't really matter what
Yeah,
their backup is, like, because who they have last year. Oh well, I mean, actually, last year he did good. What was his name?
they had Elliott last year.
Yeah, Elliott was actually playing good for what it's worth as a backup. But Martin Jones, he's been to a cup, right? Went very
Yeah,
close.
with San Jose, but it's kind of been all but downhill for him since.
Yeah, but the Flyers, to me, they've got it all. They've got the goal scorers. They got this defense. If this defense can mend together the way it looks on paper, they're they're going to be somebody. And Carter Hart can come back and play even half of himself what he did last year. They're going to be
Literally, just
something.
half.
Yeah, because his freshman year, rookie year, that was a great goalie, and then second year, I mean, bottom tier goalie. So
Dumpster
get halfway
fire.
back,
And I know myself and a lot of people thought he would be a Vezina finalist.
and another player, Cam Atkinson, is on this team. Cam Atkinson
Yup.
put up numbers with Columbus last year, and now he's going to be playing on a line with,
Every
I mean,
year.
like, yeah, Cam Atkinson on this team, along with all their other goal scorers. I don't see it going wrong. All right,
I'm with you
and
there.
your
That's gonna
division winner for you.
that's gonna lead me to the big finale for me, and that is the Philadelphia Flyers. And I'm always a year early on teams, guys. Like I was on the Flyers to win the division last year. I was on them to go to the Stanley Cup final last year. And that took a big nosedive, right? But like I was a year early on Carolina the year, and then they went to the conference finals the year after. And then I learned my lesson. And that same year I doubled down on Calgary, and then they went to the well, they actually had the first seed in the West and they got bounced in the first round, but they had a really good regular season. So I'm a year early on teams, and I'm gonna rock with the Flyers here. And Jake mentioned a lot of it. They brought in Atkinson; he's gonna score 25 to 30 goals. They added Ellis on defense along with Ristolainen, Yandel. I mean, I'm just gonna annoy you here with some more names because they have so many of them. They got Claude Giroux, Sean Couturier, Travis Konecny, Kevin Hayes, who's hurt right now, Joel Farabee, James Van Riemsdyk, Ivan Provorov, Travis Sanheim, Keith Yandel, as I mentioned, Justin Braun, Scott Lawton, Carter Hart. Wow, I'm getting tongue tied now. Like they have so much good NHL talent on this team through the top nine. I don't really like Derek Brassard as their third line center, but I think they'll probably find a way to get someone else there. I mean, they need Hart to be the elite goalie that we know he could be, right? Like we both. I thought last year he was going to be very good. Like I had him, Hellebuck, and I think Vasilevsky as the Vezina finals, and then I had Hart winning the
but
Vezina. Like,
but even with
go ahead.
Hart not showing up, that defense, name those defensemen, how they just bring in those three, which I consider them they're
Right,
elite defensemen. I mean, they're not bottom three defensemen; they're elite defensemen that they just brought
and
in.
if Ellis, Ristolainen, and Yandel work out, like you were touching on it, I think this is going to be the most diverse score maybe in the whole league. Definitely in the Eastern Conference.
Agreed. I just on paper it looks very good, and I mean I would say it does kind of rely on Carter Hart. If he doesn't show up, that'll be a struggle for them. But I don't see him. Like I said, half of him just has to come back something more than what he had last year.
Yeah.
But for me, after long debate, I had the Islanders in first, and that's a big difference because I mean you had them what
No, I'm doing the yes check.
Oh, I was like, I thought you was something was wrong. I thought I was muted for a second.
No.
But yeah, I mean that's Islanders team. If they had Anders Lee last year, I think it's a different story of how the playoffs would have went down. Same
Yeah.
with Florida too. If Florida had Aaron Ekblad, I don't know what
Why
the
why was I thinking
playoffs.
the same thing? This is why we think this show's probably gonna be okay.
Yeah, because Anders Lee was their top goal scorer. I mean, the man was scoring every single game, and like because I mean betting aspect, we were betting him to score every game, and he was. And when he got hurt, I mean that
Why
put a
did I
shot
just
in
remember
them.
JG Pageau's on this team? Like I love JG Pageau.
Yeah, you always pick that dude to score like the game winner goal or whatever. Like he's the guy. But
It's my
I mean,
dude.
do they still have Travis Zajac,
He
or is he
retired
free?
actually
He's
just the other day.
damn. Well, they got
Yeah.
Palmieri still, right? I mean, I
Yeah,
know
they
they
did bring
picked
back.
when they picked up Palmieri and Zajac. I was like, well, they're going all in now, and that filled the void for Andrews Lee that playoff run. But with him there and
They brought in
Varlamov and
Chara
Sorokin, yeah, Chara on the bottom defensive
back
pair
where it all
probably. But
began.
well, I mean, this team is that defensive core. They're gonna win. They're gonna play dirty. They're gonna win low scoring games. They can put up numbers when they have to. And
I know
Sorokin
we
and
saw
Varlamov.
a run last year with the Islanders where like they were hitting full game at first period overs, and then they would go and I think it was at home the first period overs full game unders, but on the road the full game overs would hit. It was just the most bizarre thing.
Yeah,
But they get
Islanders
the
are gonna
goal
be fun to
scoring.
watch. But
Yeah, they'll
like
be
you
in it.
said, this division took a lot of reconsideration, a lot of
Like
marking
the,
off,
the, the
erasing.
I think this one is the most like crazy of all the ones that we have. I think the Central is the other crazy one, and we'll get to a preview show for that one eventually. But like this one will be fun to look back on because one, this is our first show. Two, this is like I think the predictions are kind of all over the place, but I feel really good about them all
These are our
because the
predictions
NHL
we got
isn't
out
what it
here, but
really was in the 2010s. Like now we're finally
and
getting through, and other teams are coming on to come up.
the thing about both of our predictions here is we have the Pittsburgh Penguins and Washington Capitals potentially, well, one of them, but potentially missing the playoffs. And those two teams, I couldn't tell you the last time they didn't make the playoffs. I mean, you probably know,
Right?
but they
No, the
they get
Capitals. I think
Ovechkin.
20
Either way, it's years ago,
14.
right? Yeah, a long time
2014, I
ago.
think.
These two teams haven't missed, but I mean, they're the same team they were 10 years ago, just older, and I don't see them being successful next to these young, like, depth teams. So,
Yeah, like they're fringe playoff teams at this point. And I think they're on the wrong side of 30 most of them.
yeah, I hope that I hope the top three are right for us, or top four, and I hope we do have the Pens and Caps down there. And like I said, we can go over some betting takes that we have. I was
Yeah,
telling
we will
the
get to
Pen,
that. We promise some futures bets. Go for it.
yeah, I wish I would have typed it out, but I didn't have time. But the Penguins to miss the playoffs will be by far the bet that I'm going with. I have it at I have some money on at plus 160, plus 170, and plus 196. I don't know where I got three because I'm only on two betting sites, but I think at one point it went up to plus 170 on one of the
It
sites.
did
But
because you
but
texted me
FanDuel
that.
but FanDuel is plus 196, and I think that is absurd value for a team that I don't think they're going to be in the runnings because I was about to put the Devils above them in this playoff or in
That's
these
yeah. I
standings.
almost did the same thing, man.
Because
Like
I don't see Crosby and Malkin aren't even going to be there to start the season,
I
and when they
had the
do come back,
Penguins
like
before the pandemic hit, like that 2019-20 season. I had them seventh. And then they lost to
really,
Montreal in the bubble. Like, did they really deserve to even be there? No. And neither team really. Montreal got lucky to be there.
yeah, literally. So that is by far my favorite bet, and I found myself putting more money down as I found these better odds. So, do you want to have a bet you got to talk about?
You want to go through the rest of your futures, and then I'll go through mine.
For this division, I got Flyers to make the playoffs. I 100% once again don't see them missing the playoffs. I know this division's jam packed and anything could happen, but at plus money for them to make the playoffs when I think that I mean I had them winning the division, but after further consideration, I put the Islanders up there. But Jaric here has them winning the division, and even if we're a little wrong, they're still getting second, third, or wild card spot. So to make the playoffs at plus 115, that's what I got them at. Seems like a good value to me. And
You got
then,
anything for players? Are you still on teams?
um, well, I went back to it because last year we thought it would be the Flyers' year, and like you said, you're a year off. But I do have Carter Hart to win the Vezina at plus 3,000. I mean, the man he could have won it his first year, his rookie year. He was that good, and what's to say that he can't find that again with this defensive core in front of them? And if they do go win the division, that means they're winning games. That means he's winning games,
Yep.
and
God, Martin Jones isn't going to be
so
winning games.
yeah. And he is pretty far down on that Hart list, or not Hart list, Vesna
The
list.
Vesna. He's
Yeah, I
probably
said
pretty far
Hart.
down on the heart list too.
Yeah, but I'll stick to him winning the Vesna at plus 3,000. It's worth a bet of $2.50 to win you almost $100, or what is that, 75
Right?
bucks? No, like that is 100% worth it to put down a few dollars on a guy who showed flashes of it 2 years ago. And then
100%.
my last one I have is the Flyers winning the division. Like I said, I did bet them even though I didn't officially put it out there. But at plus 1,000, they are the fifth. I think sixth. Yeah, they're behind the
I think they're
Islanders,
the most
Cavs.
disrespected team in the book, if you
They
ask
are
me.
literally sixth behind Islanders, Canes, Caps, Rangers, and Pittsburgh to win
I
this
know.
division.
It
It
doesn't make
makes
sense to
it
me.
makes no sense. So even if they don't win that division, I mean I don't know if it'll let you have cash out value later on in the season when they are winning the division, but they got potential to win that division 100%.
Like,
So
I 100% believe that if the calendar day is January 15th, they'll, like, it's a random day, which, like, that point of the season, they'll be in first place. Just, like, some point mid-season.
yeah, and out of all the
And
teams
they'll
in
be
that
up there.
division, the gap for betting odds for those top five, it's like it goes from like plus 500 to plus 1,000 for the Flyers. It doesn't make sense to me. 100%
Doesn't
worth
make
the
sense to
bet.
me either.
So I think that is all I got for this division.
That's what you got. All right, so I'll flip on over here to my futures bets. We'll stick with the teams to start. We kind of just touched on it. Flyers to win the Metropolitan at plus 1,000. Flyers, yes, to make the playoffs at plus 115. Penguins, no, at plus 170. So those are the team ones. Flyers win the Metro. Flyers make the playoffs. Pens miss the playoffs. And I think those are all really, like, I feel really good about the Flyers winning the Metro, guys. Like, people might listen to this and think, like, I don't know what I'm talking about. Like, man, this is the year of the Flyers. They're gonna go on a run. I could even see them making the Eastern Conference Finals. Like, they're gonna battle with the Islanders, but the Flyers
I
are
can
really good.
Yeah, I can confidently say that I don't see how they can miss these playoffs, but they're the team that I would confidently say that they they're making the playoffs.
Yeah,
If a team
they're
like
in.
with this caliber misses the playoffs,
It's
I
plus money,
mean,
guys. Take it, take it, take it.
Crosby and Ovechkin will have to play like they did in like 2012 to freaking beat out this team and make them the sixth team of this division. I don't know.
Right? I mean, Crosby's out for 2 months, so
And especially with our Atlantic Division takes, maybe two teams make it from the Metro. Who knows?
we got two things of breaking news here. Zach Aston Reese testing positive for COVID for the Pittsburgh Penguins, and Cole Caulfield's out a week for the Montreal Canadiens. So I mean, Caulfield will be healthy for the regular season, but that still kind of sinks it to early blow here in camp and preseason.
Agreed.
But I got two players, three futures for player awards. So I agree with you. I think Carter Hart, he's at least going to be a Vezina finalist. So at plus 3,000, I think that's a good bet for him to go and win the Vezina trophy. I think we're super big on the Flyers. I think Hart's going to be locked down. He's going to play a lot of the games too, so they're going to take that into consideration. I don't think Martin Jones starts 30 games. I mean, but Carter Hart's going to start 52 to 60 games. That's exactly what's going to happen. He might start 65 for all I know. I mean, he's young. Hopefully, he can carry that weight. So, I mean, Hart for Vezina, and then I got 2 for Artemi Panarin. I got 1 on him for the Hart Trophy at plus 1,200 because I think if the Rangers are also going to be really good and he's going to put up over 100 points, he's definitely going to get some consideration for the Hart, and he could definitely win it. And I'm going to just toss a couple bucks on him to win the Art Ross too, because I still think he's going to be top 5 in scoring. And, I don't want to predict injuries, but if McDavid goes down, it's almost anyone's ball game to an extent. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I think Panarin's a decent bet for
I
the
don't
Art
know.
Ross too. I don't think he'll win it, but in this division, I think he's probably the best option. Sorry.
How is the NHL with giving repeat MVP awards?
I'd have to look it up, but off the top of my head, I don't think many.
Because I know for NBA, they're super sketch on ever giving the same player it again, but NFL, I mean, there's always that one guy who just plays better than everybody else and has that year. Then it's usually them, but
right.
Because NHL, there's more. You have assists and goals, and it's like, what's more important? Because I mean, Leon Draisaitl is gonna he puts up more points than McDavid sometimes. Like he won it a few years ago, right?
Yeah, he did. I think maybe it was the cutoff here with COVID, but it might have been 18-19.
Yeah. So,
I don't know off the top of my head. I'm sorry. Was that all we got?
I just wanted to see how far down he was in the Vezina rankings. Yeah, he's plus 3,400 now.
Is he? Dang. All right. Well, there you go.
I don't understand how they can put a guy like Ben Bishop above him. But
yeah, is Bishop even gonna play? They're just taking people's money with it.
And Samsonov and Sorokin, Sorokin and Varlamov aren't gonna play enough games to become a Vezina.
I like Samsonov, but no, yeah.
Yeah, I like him as a player.
Samsonov's almost in the situation maybe Cal Peterson. No, not Cal Peterson was in LA. It's weird. Kind of maybe it's not a situation. It's a mediocre situation, I guess you could say. I can't really compare it to anything. So, is that all we got, boss? Is that a wrap?
I believe so. Here's another picture of our predictions. All
right, everybody.
That was our Metropolitan Division preview.
I want to give out a big thank you for anybody who's been in this live stream or anybody who's going to watch this as a video afterwards. And if you've made it this far, please give our Twitter at Royal Bettors. You'll see it. It's the same as our YouTube name. Follow on Twitter. Our Twitters are in our little, picture boxes here at Jake Elder 19, at Jaric _rubel 11. We'd really appreciate the follows. We're going to try to grow this sucker as the season goes. What we should expect next. What day do you want to do the Atlantic? We'll do this live on air. What day are we gonna plan this next show?
Probably tomorrow.
Tomorrow?
To be honest, I don't know. Wait, how many days do we have?
We got a lot of days till the season. I was thinking you do it maybe Friday. Spread it out a little bit.
Probably Thursday because I work Friday, but I don't know. I work early Friday.
I could do Thursday. We'll be tired after our concert Wednesday.
All right.
So
Thursday at noon or what?
Yeah, does that sound good? We'll plan this live on air. Thursday at noon Central Time. We'll be on air. We will preview the Atlantic Division, and we'll toss out another idea. Since we'll finish out our Eastern Conference, do you want to just give a little Eastern Conference playoff bracket, just for the hell of it?
I haven't even looked into that, but it sounds fun.
Right, I haven't either, but it sounds fun to me too. So again, thanks for. What?
Brian put in the chat. He said, "I'm making a killing on Russian hockey, boys."
KHL, baby. I hear it's a very lethargic compared to the NHL's pace.
Yeah. For those who's never watched it, I watched it for the first time about a few days ago. I think last week. I found this website where I can watch some KHL games, and I'm like, sounds good. I'll throw a bet on it and watch a little, see how it goes. Right? They are definitely interesting. And it would have been fun to see guys like Kaprizov and Panarin playing because these guys look like not even bottom six players in the NHL. Like they couldn't keep the puck on the stick. Like pucks just the mid ice like interactions just never seen anything like it before. They just hit each other and then the puck just kind of bounces away. And I'm like, it was definitely interesting to watch. But watching a guy like Kaprizov skate around on those guys would have been fun. But
Russian hockey, what do you know? So again, I just want to say thanks everyone for who's going to view this as a video, who's watched this as a live stream. We really do want to go sucker. We're going to be live 7 days a week starting October 12th. And also, we're going to post our picks out on our Twitter because that's also makes life easier. If you miss the show and you can't watch it, at least I will. I'm sure Jake will probably follow up and do the same. He'll post all of this stuff on
and
Twitter as well.
And we made money last year. NHL day
We
one, I'll
did.
never forget. It was the first season that we were betting during NHL because we just got into sports betting, right? And day one, I made a 5-team parlay. It was 5 or 750 to make like one.
Parlay.
I just was like, all right, day one of NHL, I'm gonna put up a parlay, like what I think's gonna happen. This. I did 5 things. 4 of them hit. The last one was Vegas to win. And they were
No,
down
wasn't
3.
it Colorado? No, wasn't it Colorado?
It was Vegas. It was 100%
Was it?
Vegas
Okay,
because I
because
was wearing my Vegas
I had
jersey.
a 5-legger, and it was Vegas or not Vegas. It was
Maybe it was
Colorado
day
versus
2.
St. Louis. It was
It
Colorado
might have
St.
been
Louis,
day
and St.
2.
Louis won. I was like, damn.
No, it might have been day 2 then. I feel like it could have been. It has potential to be day 2. Either way, it was Vegas to win. They were down 3-2, and they came back, tied, and went to overtime and won, or very close to that scenario. And I was like, NHL is here. We made money all season long. I mean, except for he struggled in the playoffs,
The
but
playoffs were bad. I'll be transparent. The playoffs were not good. It was so bad. Like even in the last game, what's up, Stan? Say hello to the dog. Even in the last game of the Stanley Cup Final, Montreal Tampa. Like I was like, all right, Tampa puck line, right? Like they're at least gonna get an empty netter, cap it off. Like the game ended 1-0. You get like I
yeah,
couldn't catch a break.
they were that record was what 7-0 that playoffs of game clinching
And we should have
series
just
with
bet
Vaz.
Vasilevsky shutout
Yeah, I don't know why we didn't
because
because
that
he
he
shut him out.
clinches every series. I know.
Yeah,
Like we know what we're
that was
talking about, guys. Like
we're gonna do this. This is gonna
help
be
us grow
good.
this sucker. Hit the like button, share it. Like we're gonna have fun. And if you guys like, I had an idea that when NHL 22 comes out, we could grow like a club ESHL team for people watching this, and we could get like a squad. Like let's have some fun with this and enjoy this hockey season.
The last thing I want to show is something I made last night, which you may have saw a preview of when I was playing around with it. But
We had the rough start.
the way we came up with our name Royal Bettors is off a song called Royal Beggars. So I found a way to add this clip in here. So we'll see how this works out. So I go
Maybe
here.
we could use it as an intro. I haven't seen this before. There it
So I
is.
made this last night. And I got it to show up on the stream and everything. So that could be our intro.
It's good.
Don't know, but
Right? I don't know
yeah.
how people will feel about the screaming, but yeah, we like metal, architect bumps. We love architects,
Yes.
so yeah.
Other than that,
I guess that's a little more about us.
I think that is it. We
I think
have
that is it.
come to the end.
So we'll be
I have
back
this
with
little
you
picture we
guys.
never showed.
There it is. Thursday at noon.
Yep, Thursday at noon. We'll be
Central
live again
Time.
for the Atlantic Division.
All right,
All right,
everybody.
thanks,
Thanks for
guys.
watching. I've been
Have a good
Jaric.
rest of your
That's
day.
Jake. Take care.
We are out.